If you've been songwriting for a while, chances are you have encountered at least one dry spell. And a dry spell is a time when you just can't seem to come up with any workable ideas. And it's bad enough when this goes on for a day, but dry spells can go on for a year or more. And believe it or not, if you focus too much on trying to end the dry spell, you might just find yourself even more trapped. A better focus is on using the time during a dry spell well. Dry spells are a head game. I'm not going to go down the psychological rabbit hole of who your opponent is. Some people might say it's life. Some people might say it's yourself, blah, blah, blah. The bottom line is, though, that there are specific things you can do when you find yourself coming up empty in the creative department. I'm going to be putting out several videos that talk about some of these things that you can do. But before we go into that kind of specific detail, I want to talk about your mindset, your attitude, because that's where the game is really played. As I thought about what I was going to say here, two metaphors kept coming into my head. Sharks and candles. Now, these things have absolutely nothing to do with each other, but since I couldn't get them out of my head, that's what we're going to work with here. First of all, let's talk sharks. Most sharks can't sit still. In order to get water to move across their gills, they have to keep moving. They have to keep swimming. If they stop moving, basically, they can't breathe. This is a metaphor that I apply to a lot of things in my life, but it fits really well with songwriting. If you let a dry spell get to you so that you lapse into inactivity, your creativity might not exactly die, but it will diminish. As a songwriter, you have to keep moving. And in order to keep moving, you have to keep your momentum above a threshold. Drop below that threshold, and it can become really hard to get moving again. So, what does it mean to keep moving? It means you don't stop writing. Even if you find that you can't compose music, you keep the creative energy flowing somehow. Any successful songwriter will tell you that for every good song they write a lot of awful ones. And so it's okay if you write crap for a while. Just keep writing. The worst thing you can do is stop. Now, I'm not talking about taking a break here. I'm talking about stopping altogether. You need to keep the creativity moving, to keep swimming, just like that shark, in order to survive. Now, I figured the shark concept might not work for everybody, so let's jump over and talk about candles. Your creative energy is like a flame inside of you. It's like a torch. And when you need to get a new idea, you touch your mind to that torch, and the flame spreads over and creates another baby flame. And so you can do this forever, getting new flames from the source, unless the flame goes out. This is what a dry spell feels like your flame has gone out. But you cannot accept that. You have to believe that it's still alive inside of you, even if it's not a torch anymore. It's just a little candle. You don't need a huge torch to get another flame. A single little candle can pass on a flame. Your job during a dry spell is to keep the little candle going. Just like a fire feeds on oxygen, the little candle inside of you, the creative energy, feeds on creative activity. As long as you can stay active creatively in some way, the fire keeps going. It's okay that it's tiny. Getting a tiny flame to grow is a lot easier than trying to start up another fire from nothing. I said at the beginning that dry spells are a head game. If you let a dry spell get to you, you will not feel like keeping your creative energy moving. You won't feel like keeping the flame alive. If you let a dry spell get to you, you'll start telling yourself that it doesn't do any good to keep moving if you're not writing any good songs. You'll start telling yourself that the flame is gone, even though it isn't. Now, maybe you can't stop that voice, but you are in charge of whether or not you believe it. And you are in control of whether or not you keep moving creatively. The time that you spend in a dry spell is critical. It's very valuable time. In future videos, we'll talk about what to do during a dry spell, but for now, understand the importance of continuing to move, of tending the flame regardless of its size. It's what you do during a dry spell that can really determine the quality of what you produce when the spell is eventually over. I'll talk to you later, guys.